Hello, sugars. Hello, everyone. As you all know, we have been experiencing some technical difficulties. So hopefully, everything is right for you all on today. I am happy to be here with you, and I do hope that you've been having an absolutely wonderful day. We may have some friends join us on today, but again, we've been having some technical challenges, so I don't know if that's going to work. Um, let's start with a spot of prayer. And then this time of prayer, I just want you all to find yourself settled in this moment. Gracious God, Creator, Yeshua, Father, you who make us feel alive, we thank you on today for life, for liberty, for breathing. We thank you for meaning. We thank you for pleasure. We thank you, oh God, that even in our weakness, God, you make us strong. So today we bless your name for strength. We bless your name for vigor. We thank you for vibrance despite death that stands knocking every day. Oh God, as you on today have given us a second chance, I pray that we have and will continue to take full advantage of that. I pray that we will continue to be the ministers whom you called us to be. I pray that we would love, that we would lead others in a way that will bring your name praise all the day long. And Father, as we seek to do and work out and walk out your will, oh God, I pray that you would grace us. Give us everything that we need to get done the things that you've called us to complete. And as you do that, we will forever give your name the honor, the glory, and the praise. Thank God. Amen. Amen. So on today, we have a topic that is a simple topic. And with this topic, there is an opportunity for varying levels of interpretation. Today, we're coming from the original Change Your Posture book. Excuse me. And so, with that book, we address things really on a surface level, I want to say, things that don't have to be too complicated. And I think it's for that same reason that these things are open then to further interpretation. So today our topic is I will value intelligence. I'm full of intelligence. And so those are the combination of yesterday and today's, if we were coming from the original Change Your Posture book. As we read through these particular entries, it's talking about making sure that we can see beyond the things that are most obvious. It's asking if we can see beyond the things that people say to find deeper meaning. And I imagine if we were to do that for someone else or have the capacity to do so, then it only makes sense that we should have the capacity to do that for ourselves. And so it is my firm belief that it's quite difficult to know who we are, it's quite difficult to know who others are until we have full grasp of who we are. And when I say full grasp, I don't intend to mean that for any given reason you're going to have it all figured out. But what I do mean is that in order for me to know you really good, I've got to first know me really good. Okay? In order for me to know you really, really good, I have got to know me really, really well. And that getting to know oneself is going to come through introspection. It's going to come through participation with one's self. And so often we will skip getting to know us because we will find ourselves surrounded by people far too often. Okay, and I'm going to say that gingerly because I don't want to for any second think that you or I should find myself alone too often. Too many times we don't get any alone time at all. And in these spaces where we're constantly surrounded by people, we are also constantly not being connected deeply with self. And so, again, if I am to have some type of emotional intelligence for you, it'll be limited if I did not spend some good time with me. Okay. You all see me, and I get teased a lot for being really calm, especially in Black church tradition. I get excited now about Jesus. I will get very excited, but about many other things, I am pretty well reserved. You know, you won't often, if ever, see me upset, and that is like angry or sad. Any of those negative emotions. You won't see me doing too much yelling or raising my voice, even if it's to scream in celebration. I'm typically pretty mellow, and at the same time, I really enjoy life. You know, experiences move me. Laughter even moves me. But if you hear me raising my voice, it's typically in a burst of laughter, or a burst of communication, conversation, things like that. And I say that because it took a while, you all, for me to get to this space. It took a while for me to get to the space of being able to control myself, have self-control in such a way where the cares of this world don't get the best of me. That's a really difficult thing to do. And as I watch others, you know, and not comparing and contrasting as much as being able to look and see where God has brought me from and see where my situations have kind of taken me to a place that's healthier for me. But because I have developed this emotional security, then I can also see that there are a lot of people suffering whose emotions really, really get the best of them. And not being able to control your emotions is an absolutely dangerous thing. It's an absolutely dangerous thing. Immediately, I am drawn to think about lust, the emotion of lust, the feeling of lust. And too often we allow our lusts to drive us to passionate fits of sexual whatever, sexual fixation, sexual immorality, sexual pleasure, sexual indecency. And it's not all just the act of sex as much as it is everything kind of surrounding it. And when we do that, we then create relations and entanglements, things that are likely not the best for us long term. Typically, it's going to be because that we are in that heightened sense of emotional desire where we make decisions that are not the best for us, and then you end up getting entangled in something that where I like to say, I ain't even supposed to be in here tonight. Y'all weren't even supposed to be in there with that person, that situation, that thing. But that is what emotions will do to you. Emotions will find you in an entanglement that you did not sign up for. And so it takes time to develop emotional security, okay? And again, lust is just one example. There are plenty, you know. So desire is a form of lusting after things, lusting after material things, you know. So don't get caught up in the word, because the word will have you miss that we lust for many things. We lust for many things. When you think about our sacraments, you know, the ways that we show worship, you know, through baptism or the communion services, or, you know, how we fast and we pray and we do all of these things, you will miss the benefit of what a fast represents if you're lusting to always have your hunger or your thirst quenched by the things of this world. And so essentially, this is what can happen to each of us when there is not an emotional maturity that would have us to delay our gratification in plenty areas, okay? And that was plenty with two N's, in plenty areas. And so we have to be mindful of what it means to have emotional intelligence, because if we are to walk uprightly and we are to walk in wisdom, but mostly if we are to walk in peace, then you have to have a sense of emotional security, and it takes time. And it's something that, again, many people desire peace, but at the same time, we allow our emotions to be manipulated, right? We allow ourselves to be puppeted according to what our emotions are. And that is, my friends, extremely dangerous. There are going to be so many places that you cannot go, so many conversations you cannot have, so many people you cannot meet, simply because you don't act right. You know, we can't take you everywhere because you won't know how to act. And some of us can be in the most heated of situations and still maintain our cool long enough to get invited back the next time, or to be able to minister at the end of whatever tumultuous situation might have arisen. I find myself being reminded right now of an engagement where I served in a student organization who happened to meet with the presidents of the campus at Duke Divinity School. And there were a lot of riotous things that happened in this meeting, things that were quite frankly very infuriating. Yet I was able to maintain my cool, and I'm grateful that God has graced me with the ability to do that, because imagine how many people would get invited to that meeting in the first place. And if the conversation would cause us to throw our cards all out on the table and make a fool of ourselves, make a mockery of ourselves and God, then how many more times will you get invited to such experience where we think we're representing ourselves, and the truth and reality is that we represent God. We're representing God. Even among other Christians, there are so many difficulties that we come across within life where we truly can mess it up if we can't get our emotions under wrap. And so earlier, I just was thinking about how there's such a desire and lust and these passions that just cause us to be enraged with fulfillment. And I was thinking about Lot and the situation of Sodom and Gomorrah, where these people just could not even control their loins, couldn't control their loins because they were so accustomed to the pattern of giving in and giving in and giving in to their body's lust, to their worldly desires, to their carnal distractions. And when you give in to things so much, of course, you create monsters. You create little bitty or huge things that you then cannot control in the long term. And so I'm giving you a conversation that should cause each of us to think about how we engage with people in ways that either don't show us as the most favorable, or we engage with people in ways where at the end of it all, you got to ask yourself, will somebody sign up for this? Will somebody sign up for this right here? Will somebody deal with this mouth? Will somebody deal with this anger? Would somebody be willing to have argument after argument after argument with me if I can't control myself in the right way? And then we wonder why everybody who ever deals with you is always cussing and fussing and all of these types of things like this. People tend to be very aggressive with other people and then question why other people are aggressive with them. And I find that to be quite a peculiar thing, because there are several things going on. It's like the law of attraction, or you reap what you sow. If I'm going to sow good into this world, if I'm going to sow respectful communication into this world, if I'm going to sow cheer and pleasure, happiness, positivity into this world, then I actually expect the same thing in return. You can't treat me differently than I treat myself. So if I treat myself good, I absolutely expect you to treat me good. And so again, if I'm going to give out good, I absolutely require good in return. But at the same time, for those of us, like I said, who do not sow those types of things, then whatever the world gives you is going to be okay with you, because you've given the world your behind. And when the world returns behind, then you can't then have a problem with it. You reap what you sow. Okay? And when you are giving out a lot of piss poor things, when you get those things in return, you don't even know how to respond in the way that's going to net you something more positive than what you've been giving out. Okay. All right. So here is the summary of all of that. All right. And here I am thinking I've been talking for 45 minutes, but we're clearly just getting started. The summary of all of this, you all, is if you want the world to be better to you, then you absolutely have to be better to the world. If you want life to respond to you in good ways, if you want happiness and joy and a positive outlook, then that's something that you have to create within yourself. I have literally been around some quite cantankerous people. I have dated quite cantankerous folks, at least one of them. Oh, he was hellified. You hear me? Hellified. But it was in that relationship likely that I learned to relax, chill out. Ain't no need for both of us to be in here acting an absolute nut, okay? And so it was in that relationship I learned how to be silent, how to just chill. You know, I actually learned how to communicate with God very deeply in that relationship, because while this joker was over here showing his natural born self, I started to pray. And praying helped me keep my cool. People ask me all the time, women ask me all the time, you know, especially in relationships where guys had been treating them poorly, talk to them crazy, call them out of their name, very emotionally violent to these women, very vocally violent to these women. They always ask me, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? How do I let go and let God when this dude is talking to me crazy? And I was like, you just don't say anything. Don't say anything. Why? Because if it is true that we're going to let God fight the battles, then we have to bridle our tongue. We have to just chill. Okay, hashtag just chill. But we don't know how to do that, because instead of truly allowing the battle to be God's, and instead of truly allowing God to fight the battle, us as women, we want to talk, we want to fuss, we want to get back, and we want to explain, and you're doing too much. Young lady, you are doing absolutely too much, because what you'll do at that point is you're going to go toe to toe with the gentleman on topics and things that really don't even have an end to them. You know, you'll be trying to defend yourself against an attack that's senseless in the first place. And when you're arguing about something that just makes no sense, the argument itself has no point. It has no end. It has no conclusion that's going to work. So you just chill. And the best way to chill is just pray. Just look at the gentleman, smile and nod, and you could be praying. You could be praying and developing your best relationship with God that you ever developed in your whole life. Because guess what? The only thing that's probably going to keep you from engaging is to be praying. To be praying, to open up a portal that can have you existing in peace that surpasseth all understanding. But if you don't take the first step, you won't know peace and you won't know understanding. Okay, so you have got to do your part. God is not going to come in here and give us emotional intelligence in situations where we would rather fight with our mouth. You're doing too much. Okay, you're absolutely doing the most. All right. And so we've got to do a better job of learning to express ourselves in ways that are going to be favorable. You know, if I were to leave here tonight, I don't want anyone to be able to say, well, dog, she talked to me crazy and she's disrespectful and she's, you know, I don't want that as anything that's on my ticket. I don't want that as anything that someone holds about me, because one of the most important things to me, I got a couple, but my character and namely my integrity. Two very important things to me. And my peace. My peace is probably first. My peace, which is my stuff. And character, which is how I engage with you. And integrity is how I engage with you. And so when you think about what's most important to you, you got to have things that's going to help you keep self-control. Sometimes success is most important, but success is not going to help anybody maintain self-control. If it's all about winning, you could care less who you hurt or step on in the process. You know what I mean? So you have to figure out, what do you value? What do you value? You know, do you value being the only God that they see? Do you value being the smile, you know, the one smile that changed someone's day or changed someone's life, made somebody's day? You know, you don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what your demeanor, your personality, your posture in any given room or situation could do to help everybody else around you. But guess what? If you're hellified, you're not helping anyone and anything. Okay? So we have to do a better job of maintaining self, because I have my dignity to worry about. Okay? And dignity is probably one of those things that is dead. Dignity probably is dead in so many people's lives. You know, we're talking about chivalry being dead. It's probably dignity. Dignity, because there has to be accountability on both parts. You know, there has to be accountability, whether that's gender accountability, racial accountability. We can have a religious or denominational, cultural accountability. There has to be some accountability. You can't just be out here in this world treating people bad because they treat you bad. That's silly. Okay, I hate to say it, but that's silly. Okay, we have got to do better. We have got to do better about what dignity means and what it means to have character, what it means to have integrity. And some of us are not worried about that because we're too busy trying to win against someone else. This battle of life is not about us. Okay. And at the end of it all, we are attacking people who are already hurting. What do you win by attacking a person who's already hurting? What do you win by attacking people who are already damaged people? You understand what I'm saying? You have to go beyond the matter at hand, the issue at hand. What do you win? And at the end of it all, yeah, we get hurt. People do some nasty things. Trust me, I know. If nobody else knows, the person who doesn't defend themselves a lot knows. People do some nasty things. I know that. But at the end of it all, when it's all said and done, I get my sleep at night because I know I'm out in this world doing my best to be a good person. I don't always get it right. I absolutely don't always get it right. But the place where I get it wrong the most is in my mind. Because everything that comes to my mind, I absolutely do not express. And even if I get to the point of expressing it, I express it with the person who is simply allowing me to express. You know, venting it doesn't even do me much good. Now, sometimes I realize I do need to get things off my chest, but I don't always have to get it off my chest with the person who is attacking me. Okay, I don't always have to get it off my chest with that person. Okay, I'm old, y'all, so I was crossing my legs. It's not gonna work. These knees are not gonna work if I keep with my legs crossed. Okay, so I hope that this conversation so far has helped some people, especially some women. We absolutely have to do a better job with self-expression, you all. It's quite important to be able to express yourself. That's another thing I see when I am judging. When I see people who are more angry than they are communicative, I'm like, oh, they simply don't know how to communicate. You know, they simply don't know how to communicate. Angry is not a form of communication. Angry is an emotion, you know. And sometimes it's simply that we're getting angry because we don't know how to say what we need. It's just like when we tell children, you know, tell us what you need. Babies cry because babies can't express what they need. So tears, emotions are going to express those types of things. And so, yeah, you get to the point sometimes where you absolutely do need to cry. You absolutely do get angry and upset and mad and enraged. But you find that you are better able to handle and maintain your emotions and your dignity when you learn how to communicate. So the conversation about emotional security is really a conversation about learning how to communicate better. There are so many of us who do not tell the world how to treat us, and we put no requirements on the world. We also set no boundaries with the world. So because we have not expressed at different junctures what not to do with me and what is okay and acceptable to me, then when you go beyond those things, I don't know how to act. But if I have along the way of my friendships and my relationships and even in acquaintanceships or something with strangers, if I have along that path either giving you something that you should reciprocate, or I have communicated to you what's okay with me, if I've done that, then chances are I'm going to get something that I can maintain. You know, once you get to me, it is something that I have allowed to get that way, because everything else at various junctures, I should have been cutting it off. If it was something that I could not tolerate, I should have been cutting it off. Okay. I'm going to tell you about my relationships with my mentees, and then we shall move to prayer. And I believe this is a conversation that's quite valuable, because many of us are in relationships that are not actually bad relationships. It's just that the parties don't know how to communicate. Okay. And the parties don't know how to maintain emotions. And so things get violent in various ways, you know, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially violent. There's so many different ways that people can be abused or treated poorly. Okay. But my mentees, these are young adult women who are generally spicy. That's probably why they appeal to me, or probably why God placed these young ladies in my life. They enjoy me, and I definitely enjoyed them. They teach me a lot, and I'm sure that I teach them a few things as well. Every now and again, which is actually quite often, sometimes too often for my own comfort, they get out of line. They get out of pocket. They talk to me crazy. And it is sometimes I feel like it's because I have become too comfortable with them and too comfortable for them. I want them to be absolutely open with me. I want us to be able to talk about everything under the sun, and trust me, we do. But sometimes, because of this level of openness and this safe space that I'm wanting to create with them, sometimes the line seems to become blurred with the fact that I am not one to play with. Okay. And I don't mean that to say that you can't play with me because I'm this type of woman and you can't talk to me. I mean, as far as being able to, at the end of it all, create some type of structure and organization and discipline and formality with them. Okay. So I want to create a safe space, but I don't want them to ever think we're on the same level, because we are not homegirls. I am your mentor. You are my mentees. Okay. We were cool. I hang out with them literally more than I hang out with anybody else. So I really, truly love them. But there's just some things we cannot do together. Some we can't go certain places together. Okay. So they quite often, you know, treat me probably like I'm a homegirl, and they don't curse around me and things like that. But it's just like that. If they were to curse around me and be like, "Oh, my bad," it's not your bad. You got too comfortable because you cursed in the first place. And so they don't do that. But just imagine things like that. You know, if you were to disrespect me by cursing in my presence, what people should do with you is to know who you are to such an extent that because you are present, then some of them should have changed and adjust because of the standards that you maintain, uphold, and represent. Okay. If there is nothing that a person changes about them because you came around, then you're not doing something right as it comes to standards that you have created in life. Okay. And so, you know, there are certain areas, like when they call me bruh, I just cannot deal. Okay. Quit calling me bruh. As a matter of fact, don't call anybody bruh, you know, but I try to, you know, get on their level and allow them to get on my level too. But there are just certain things that, you know, I want them to not even do. Don't do that. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to any adult, because I also want them to be respected in the same way. And so I don't let them yell. We can't do any raising of voice. We cannot, you know, badmouth persons. We can talk about people very deeply, but we will not raise our voices, whether we're upset or too excited or anything, because what I want to teach them is emotional security, emotional stability. I want to teach them to be young ladies who can express themselves no matter what is going on. And I also teach them not to depend on me too much. The reason I teach them not to depend on me too much is because they need to create spaces with themselves where they can maintain self-control whether I'm around or not. And sometimes that's very difficult for us to do. You know, we get around people, we get real hype, we just start going bananas and cussing, and girlie did this and she did that and da, 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 da.